Okay, so we finally get to see my booster video that I mentioned was going to come out very soon, or it was supposed to be released weeks ago, but unfortunately YouTube didn't like the 30-minute long video, so I had to take it, edit it, and completely shorten it so that it was able to fit YouTube standards so it would upload properly and not have to deal with the whole headache of it saying media failed, this, that, etc. But with that in mind, if you need to pause throughout the video to look at all the algorithm steps that I'm going to show, feel free to do so. And if you like this video, please leave it a thumbs up, and if you're not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing. So let's get on to the rest of the video. Okay, now that I've gotten that out of the way, let me go ahead and explain one more thing. Now with these boosters I'm running, as you know already, it made these stats that I'm going to show on the table, as of here on the booster table, will be different depending on what boosters you're at, or what level your current boosters are at on your own hangers. Each player I know is not going to be fully max level, at least not yet. There are a few players that are, and good. This is a good thing. If you don't know about these certain algorithms, this will help you out. But to those future players that want to get up to this level, you can see what you're going to receive, and you can know the algorithm as well to run it at your lower levels. It just might not be as good as the max level 11 tier, but it'll still be out there for you to use if you want to use it. So as you can see, all my boosters are fully upgraded, and so are my power-ups. So this setup here I have dubbed the Speed Demon setup. This is a really good setup which gives you almost 59% in speed buff and 12% in fuel and 25% in damage buff, but you lose 2% in your tank and 37% in your heat. Another thing to point out with these setups here in the algorithm is that there's no golden setup in the game that I would call a golden setup. The golden setup in the game would be where you would lose nothing. You would gain everything: speed, boost, heat, everything. But unfortunately, there's a cost for each setup that you run in the table. For example, here, you lose heat and you lose your tank. So let me go ahead and jump into a video clip here and show you an example of using this setup, the Speed Demon setup. To any of you players that want to run the Bellatrix super fast, here's the setup for you. This is a setup that is used by Blue Diamond, and to you old players out there that wish to have the Alden back in his former glory, you can use this setup as well and make the Alden incredibly fast. He can do dashes like he used to be able to when he was first released, and move across the map at insane speed and give the Bellatrix a run for its money. Now, he won't be the faster than the Bellatrix, but he'll definitely give it a run for its money. Now to use snipers. This will make the Crusher a little bit more usable for you if you prefer to use the Crusher or not. And to any of you tank robot players out there that love to use the Reaper, it'll make the Reaper fast as well. Really fast. So to any of you, there's that one. Now, speaking of tanks, this is what I like to call the tanker setup. Not the tanker from War Robots. This is an entirely different tanker name for this game that I have personally adopted into myself. If you don't want to use it, that's fine. But as you can see, this is what you'll get. Now you can make it better by lowering the heat to 30%, so you won't lose 38%, but you'll lose 30%. But you also lose your speed that you had with that. So you can choose whether or not if you want to add the ERCM, if you don't want to use it or not. So here's an example. As you can see, using this tanker setup, it makes you incredibly so, but it makes you a walking fortress. As you can see, my max level health on my Reaper is 394k. That's a lot of health for a Reaper, and I have used this against real players. One player was the SOP clan. They all had Bellatrixes. It took 4 of them to bring me down, and they were all using the shotgun setup. So in that addition, you also have this setup, which I call the common setup. I've seen this setup used by a lot of players that have posted in Discord, the public, and my own personal Discord server. This is a really good setup because it gives you your 23%, not the full tank, but you get like almost close to half, 12% in speed, fuel 11%, but you get to keep your 56% damage boost, and your heat is really low. but I decided we should make that a little bit shorter. So I went ahead and I dropped it to 10, but you lose your speed. Like I said, there's a cost for everything. You lose your speed, but you get to shoot for a very, very long time. To any of you players that like running heavy setups like the Thunder or the Shotgun, the Breaker setups, anything that takes a lot of heat and uses a lot of your bot's heat, this setup would be the best table setup to go with in the algorithm of the boosters. This would allow you to shoot for a long time. So in this example, you can see here, look at my heat bar. Barely even got above the half line. Barely even like a third almost is where I got at. So you can shoot for a very long time. A lot of players use this setup because it gives you the ability to run it and use and shoot and get the highest damage possible. So definitely a good setup to consider if you want to get the highest damage possible and the highest output possible and shoot for the longest time and do the support on your team. It works on each bot and each weapon setup that you wish to use in the game as it currently. Now, a lot of players wish that the certain weapons in the game did not take too much heat, and some believe that they need a rework and a refix so that they're a lot more balanced, but we'll let the developers decide that. Now, this one I want to put out there. It's not the best setup, although it does give you even speed and even damage and good tank, but you lose a little bit of your fuel, but what's even more crazy is you lose 50% of your heat. This setup is deemed the Wimp setup. I really don't like this setup. I found it when I had one friend of mine who played that lives where I live here in Idaho. He mentioned that, hey, you should try this setup and see if it's good. I said it's decent, but the heat is just garbage. So I'm going to show you an example of what you can see here. Going on to clip number 5. Here you are. Did a lot of video clips with this, and this happens to be clip number 5. So as you can see here, I'm running at the Bellatrix. Look at my bar. Look at that. Look at that. It's already half, and I'm almost going to be overheated. See, one more shot, another shot, boom, I'm overheated, and I didn't even kill the robot yet. I killed him finally, but as you can see, there's a lot of good setups here that you can run, about 4 of them, 5 of them. As you can see, Speed Demon, Tanker, Common Setup 2, and Wimp Setup. Definitely not the best setup to go with. If you enjoyed it, I hope this algorithm helps you out and allows you to be fresher.